Hi, this is Happy Bird from happybirdsglitternest.blogspot.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make this very simple little pick-me-up tag. And as you can tell, it has the envelope in the back for a gift card or a flat chocolate or any number of things. And I made this little flower garden out of buttons and bling. And here's the little butterfly that I showed you how to make a couple of videos back. And then I just typed this out in Word. And so I think it turned out pretty cute. But I'll show you how to make this. So stay tuned. And I do have a pattern for you for the tag, as well as this little envelope in the back. So stay tuned and I'll show you how to put it together. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to print out my extra large tag pattern, and I'll give you the link down below in the Show More drop-down bar, as well as on my blog. So I'm just going to kind of rough cut around this. Like so, because I don't like all that extra paper hanging off when I'm trying to cut something. So I'm taking a little piece of double-sided tape down the back, just so I can stick it to this piece of cardboard here while I'm cutting it. And this is just a nice piece of heavy-duty cardboard from an old Capri Sun juice box. Alright, so I'm just going to cut right on the line, like so. Nice clean cuts. There we go. Right there. Okay. Set this aside, and then I'm going to take my little, I'm going to take my little hole punch and just try to center it the best you can, and then punch a hole like that. So now we can just lift this right off and throw that away. So now I'm going to be placing some scrapbook paper on here, and I like to use the pastel colors with just a light design in the background, because we're going to be placing our little flowers on here, so we don't want it so busy in the background that it kind of drowns our little flower garden out. So anything kind of light and plain like that. Here's another example like that. Even little polka dots would be fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Elmer's Craft Bond Extra Strength glue stick, and I found this at Walmart. Let's see. Okay. And I'm just going to be rubbing this all around. I'm going to get quite a bit on here. Paying special attention to the edges. And here on the back of the paper. And then I'm going to take my scissors and kind of rough cut around that. Okay. And I'm just leaning my blades against the edge of the cardboard and then cutting the little excess off right here. Going all the way around, just like so. And then at the bottom. Okay. So now I'm going to take this little hole punch and punch a little hole through. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on the back that I did on the front with the paper. There you go, paying special attention to the edges. Turn this over like so. There's something on there, I'm not sure what it is. Okay, got it. Press this down. Alright, and then I'm going to do the same thing. Just like so. And these little tags are so much fun to make up. They're very relaxing to me. And people seem to really love them. I've already given away quite a few. And I think with this pick-me-up tag, I might put a little flat chocolate candy, like the Hershey miniatures, maybe a few of those. I don't know how much I can get in the envelope. I'm thinking maybe 3. I'm not sure. Or maybe a little Ghirardelli chocolate. You know, the small ones they sell individually, and the little, not individually, but they're wrapped individually, but they sell them in the bag. Okay. You could also add a little instant coffee stick, like I showed you in my other tag video. Okay. And then I'm just going to punch this one too. Find the hole here, just like that. Okay, so now we have this. Whoops, I pulled that one up. I'm going to have to. That was a very. If you have to go around and redo the edges, once it's dried you can do that, but I think it was just the top part that missed it. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. So the next thing we're going to do, now you don't have to do this part, but I like doing it since I found this little Eyelet Setter at Harbor Freight. And I got it for under $5, and it came with all of these really nice looking little eyelets here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. I use silver today. And if you look at the little eyelet, I might use that as the, it's got a little knob. And I just push that on through like that. I just hold that eyelet and turn it upside down. This is just the way I like to do it. You may want to do it differently. And I take these little eyelet setters, and you see that little knob thing? Just going to slip it on through like that, and I'm going to squeeze real hard. And sometimes you might have to go in a couple of times. There we go. And we have it set. Now you don't have to do that, like I said. That's just something I like to do. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the edges, and you can do this with anything. You can do this with a Sharpie, you can do this with an ink pad, you can do this with a paint pen, which is what I end up using most of the time, and I'll probably end up today using. I wish I had a silver pen. I had originally purchased a silver pen, but then something went wrong with it. I bought it on eBay, and I don't know if it was just the pen, that it was faulty, or me, or what. I wasn't sure. But it leaked all over. I was pretty upset too, because I paid fairly good for it on eBay. I should have just bought it at Michael's. Then I could have just returned it, but hindsight's always 20/20, huh? So I'm just going around the edges like this. There we go. And I don't go, and then I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing. I don't go fast on this. I try to go fairly slow, because I've done this in the past where I've accidentally went right across the tag by trying to rush it or go too quickly. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry and kind of wave it around for a few seconds. And then we'll do the fun part. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to set this aside for a second. Now, the next thing you're going to need is you're going to need some buttons. I have this huge jar full of buttons here. Bring this up a little. And I've collected these for a lot of years. So I went through my plain old buttons, and I tried to pick ones that had kind of a, oops, sorry. I tried to pick ones that had kind of an iridescent look to them. Kind of like this, or pearlescent, I should say. Look. And these are just plain old buttons. See, they have kind of a pearlescent look. I don't know if you can really see. So I thought these would be the prettiest. And so I kind of collected these to make flowers out of. And then you can see some that I already made up right here. And I tried to choose the pearlescent pastel colors with these. And I used, for the centers, I used the Walmart Bling. And I showed this to you guys a while back on a couple of different occasions, but if you're a newbie, they have this huge sheet, and I folded this in half, this sheet. And I believe it was something like $2.84, something like that. These are 9mm, and I love the holographic paper they put behind these. I think it just really creates such a beautiful look. They had them in all sizes. Those are the 9mm, and then I picked up some in, let's see, 6mm. Yeah, these are the tinier ones. I'm trying very carefully not to wrinkle the bags too much because I had a couple of people message me and tell me that it was annoying. So I pulled out some bling ahead of time. I just have to unstick it. I'll set this aside. Alright. So these come by the rows, and so all I did was just took a little piece like this and took my detail hot glue gun and put a little bit of glue on there and just placed it in the center of the button like so, and that's all I did. So I'm not going to do this whole pile here, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just do a few here, and then we'll put our flowers together on this tag. And this is a good way to use up some of those extra buttons that you don't know what you're going to do with. Place that like that, just to make little flowers. And I'll grab a couple more here. Let me lower this camera a tiny bit. See, they come in strands, so I just pull them apart. And a little bit of hot glue. Maybe I'll use this little blue one here. Maybe I'll use this blue one. Put that on here. So you can pre-make your little flower garden ahead of time doing this. And get a gonna pull off that little rubbery thing. I should have done that first. Or you can cut it off. Like that. And the tinier ones, let's see. I hope that crinkling isn't too loud for the camera. I mean, in the camera, not for the camera. Okay. And then put this on, just like so, and the tiny ones. And maybe I'll do one more little tiny one here. Like so. One more. How about that? One more. Maybe the blue one. And let's see. Okay. Pull this off. That little rubbery thing off there. And even though these are really sticky in the back, I still like using my little Gorilla Glue in my little hot glue gun. So you can use different size centers. So I'm just going to set this aside for now, and I'm just going to choose from these little flowers that we made. Sure, there's no strings. And then we'll start placing these. Okay, I started out by choosing 6 buttons, 3 going diagonal and then 2 going diagonal this way. Now I might add another button or 2 onto this, but for now I wanted to see exactly how much room I had to draw the stem. So I picked a couple of different shades of green here, and I'm going to start with this Sharpie here. And these aren't glued on or anything yet. I'm just going to be making some wavy lines all the way down here, like this. Like so. And I'm not worried about the bottom because we're going to be doing something there in a minute. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is take my hot glue gun and lift up the buttons and put a little bit of hot glue on the back here, like so. Just like that. On top. And I'm not an artist, that's for sure. So anybody can do this, even kids. Okay, now I might add this little guy maybe right here. I think I can add another little line there. Oop, I used the dark green instead of the light green. Oh well, doesn't matter. I can fix that up. I should have watched what I was grabbing. Okay. And then I might kind of fix these up with a little bit of the darker green added to it. And I'll add some leaves in a moment too, but for now, let's see, maybe a little blue one, or would that be too much? I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to glue that on. Just like so. And I'm going to come back in with the light green maybe do some leaves up and down the stems, just here and there randomly. Like so. Like this. And then maybe, yeah, I think I'll just kind of leave it at that. Alright, and so now the bottom part, I want to add a little grass. And you could take green cardstock and just make little fringes and then just glue this across, but I thought it would be pretty maybe to use some of these seed beads that I bought at the Dollar Tree, like that, and just to add it across here. So I'm going to take a little brush here, like this, and I'm going to dip it into some regular Mod Podge gloss. Let me get a paper towel here. I'm going to lay this on top. And I'm just going to dip this little makeup brush in here. And I'm just going to just kind of make it just wavy, like this. And I probably shouldn't have added that last button there, but then I'm just going to kind of add a little more here. I want to make it to where it's a fairly thick amount. You're going to have to let this dry overnight for sure. And I want to make sure to get down to the corners here and the bottom, like so. And I'm going to take the smallest of the seed beads. I think they're 11.0. I mean in this particular batch here. And I'm going to pour a little on here. Okay. And like I said, if you want to use green construction paper and make fringes and just glue that on, you can do that as well. So I think I'm going to take some of these and just cover this bottom with those little seed beads. I'll press them down as I go. Okay. Make sure you press it down. You want it to stick. Okay. All right. So I pressed it down. Gently tip it over, don't shake it. And then pat it down. Make sure it's in here. Okay. So we got that part done. And so I'm going to allow this to dry overnight, and then we'll finish off the rest of the card. So I'm going to set this aside. I want to make sure that's really adhered. That's why I'm letting it dry overnight. Okay, so this dried really nice and hard, and it stayed on there. So I thought I would touch up the leaves a little bit. So I'm just using this little e.l.f. Makeup brush here. It's real tiny. And you can use any kind of gloss. I'm just using the triple thick. And I'm just going to dip a little bit. You know what? I should actually put a little bit of that in a cup because I'm not too sure if the green Sharpie would come off or not. I'm just putting the tiniest amount. Okay. So I'm just going to just do this on the leaves, just like that. Not a whole lot, just a dab. You could actually just kind of gloss over it like that and leave it like that if you would like. I have a mixture of several different Martha Stewart green glitters here, so I'm going to pour a little bit here out on the napkin so I can take just the tiniest fingerful and just barely sprinkle it. I'm not trying to cover the leaves, I'm just trying to bring them out a little bit. And then a dab here, and a little here, and a little here, and then just barely sprinkle. See, I'm barely sprinkling anything. Then here, and here. Okay. All right. And I'm going to allow this to dry before I brush anything off. So I'm going to allow that to dry thoroughly, okay? And then we'll come back and brush it off. Okay, so this is dried, so I'm just going to take a soft makeup brush that I bought at the Dollar Tree and just kind of brush it off gently off the card and off any buttons that I might have sprinkled that on. Then hold it into the light and see, it looks fairly clean, except maybe a stray piece of glitter here or there. But I think it really added a lot to the leaves. So the next thing that I did was I printed out some Easter sayings in Word, and I have some leftover cards when I was cutting up the Dollar Tree note cards and making tags out of them. I saved some of the backs because this is just the perfect thickness, I should say, to do these. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my Elmer's Craft Bond glue and just going to rub it all over like so. And just kind of place this on the card and then stick it down and let it dry for about 10 minutes or so, and then come back to it, and then we'll cut out a little cloud shape. Okay, so now we're going to cut a little cloud around here just by making various little swirly cloud-like cuts. Just make the cuts rounded. Like that. And now I'm going to use one of my little foam mounts, and I bought this package a while back at the Dollar Tree, and it really does stick. Just taking a little square and I'm going to cut this apart in about 3 pieces. So I have this to mount it with. Peel that off. It doesn't normally need this much, but I figured if I have it, why not make it nice and strong to where it won't fall off. Okay. Alright, so now I'm just going to peel the top paper off like that on all 3 pieces. And then the last piece, like so. And let's see. Oh, I think before I put this on, I probably should have done this first. I'm going to give it a little edging here with my 14 karat gold pin. And then I'm going to wave it around. I should have done this before I put on the foam dots, but it slipped my mind, which isn't unusual these days with me. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of blow on it, make sure that's at least a little bit dry. Actually, I think it's right up there. Okay. So now I think I could put it straight, or I could put it sideways. Which do you think? Straight or sideways? I think I'll do it at an angle. There we go. So this is what we have so far. And so now we need to put the back on the little coin size envelope so we can slip some chocolates in there. Okay, I was told that I should add one of my little wooden butterflies that I embellished up here. So what I did was I took my scissors and very gently moved the foam little foam squares up, and I readjusted this so I could add this to the top right here. So I'm going to do that, and if you're wanting to know how to make these and where I bought these little wooden buttons for practically nothing, then I will link a video to where I give all that information at the very end of this video. All you have to do is just click on the thumbnail. I'm so glad that landed upside down. Okay. Right about here, maybe. Just there. I think that looks really pretty. Might have to, I don't know, I think I maybe should have moved it a little bit more this way. But I'll work with that in a moment. And I have this all put down in the drop down bar below, as well as on my blog. And you can print this out. This is a little coin or gift card envelope, and you can also place like flat chocolates in there. So I printed this out and I put it on top of another piece of computer paper, and then I'll just cut it out like this. The reason why I can't use this is because the words are written on here, so that will show. This is more of just a pattern. So I'm just going to cut this out quickly. And then we'll attach this, of course, to the back of the tag. And you can buy this size envelope if you'd like. They have them on Amazon, on eBay. But I actually think the ones on Amazon are probably a little better as far as price. Okay, so this I'm just going to toss, because this is what we want. And you could do this with scrapbook paper too if you want. I'm just using computer paper. And so I just folded it up like that. And I'm thinking, okay, so I'm just going to take my Elmer's Craft Bond glue, put a little bit right here along the edge, and then fold that over. And then of course you don't want to fold the top because you have to slip whatever you're going to put inside up there. And then just close that. And so you have this open little coin envelope at the top. Now, when you do put your Ghirardelli chocolate in here or your Hershey miniatures, then just take a little piece of double-sided tape like this and just stick it right here and then just fold it over and close it. Okay. So in the back of this card, I'm going to place this little envelope like that. And this is a perfect size for a gift card as well. I'm just going to take my Craft Bond glue and do this all over, with the exception of the top flap, of course. I like to put it about here, and then just allow it to dry before you put anything in it, because if you try to open it, of course it's going to peel right up. So just allow that to dry right on the tag for about 15 minutes at least. Okay, before you try to open it and slip anything through. So I'm going to fold this over, and then I'm going to get a little piece of ribbon and wipe the glue off my fingers here. And I'll be right back with that. Okay, so I have a narrow piece of ribbon here, and I'm just going to fold it in half, like so. And I'm just going to push this ribbon through the back with a toothpick, and it comes right through when you do that. Enough where you can pull it through. And then I'm going to slip this through that loop, like that, and then just pull, like so. Now you can either leave it long like this so you can tie it on a doorknob or something like that to surprise the person, or you can just go ahead and make a little bow. I'm just making a little bunny ear bow. Nothing fancy schmancy. That's for sure. Just going to open up these here. And I'm just going to clip those off a little bit. And so we have our little Easter blessings tag. And then we have this in the back. I accidentally pushed that down. I shouldn't have done that. And then now you can open up the back and you can slide a gift card in here or add a couple of flat Hershey miniatures or one Ghirardelli, something like that. So it gives you a little bit of room in there. There we go. And then just stick the double-sided tape right here, like I mentioned before. So this is it. And I hope you really enjoyed this project, and I really hope you give it a try. I love making tags. It's so relaxing to me. So thank you for sticking with me, and God bless each and every one of you. Bye-bye.